Okay, so hopefully by this time, by the time you're looking at this video, you have completed your review. Remember, the whole purpose of the review is to make sure you understand these type of problems to be ready for your test. That is the most important thing here. If you can understand these problems, then you're ready for the test. So make sure you're using the review as your own personal test, and then watch this video to ensure that you are getting them correctly. So starting with number 1, okay, the temperature in Alaska, at 8 a.m. was negative 8 degrees Fahrenheit. A cold front passed by, and at noon, the temperature was negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit. The drop in temperature is expressed by, so I got this word problem, but they've actually already given me the problem. So if we go back to what we've been working on and focused on in class, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is identify my operator. And then I'm going to notice whatever it is. It says this one's subtraction. So for subtraction problems, we rewrite as addition by keeping the negative 8, change the subtraction to addition. This negative 12, the opposite of negative 12 is positive 12. Okay? After I do that, remember we're going to follow the rules for addition. My signs are different, which means I'm going to have to do 12 minus 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. And I keep the sign of my larger number. So my answer would be 4. Moving on to number 2. Identify my operators. I don't have any subtraction to worry about. I do have some parentheses, and I didn't do this on the first one. Please, please, please write PEMDAS on your paper. Remember that step, okay? All right, I do have parentheses. I have 2 sets, so I'm just going to start with the first one. And remember, with order of operations, you're going to bring down everything else exactly the way it's written. Okay, this is multiplication. My signs are different. I can draw my triangle to help me remember how to work this one. Multiplication will still be 12, but I need to determine if it's going to be positive or negative. Since one of my numbers were negative and one of them is positive, that means my answer is going to be negative. Now I'm ready to keep going. I got another set of parentheses over here. So I'm going to bring down the negative 12 plus. Negative 8 divided by 4. Again, same thing. 8 divided by 4 is 2. But I do have to, again, refer back to my triangle. Because I have a negative and positive again, my answer is going to be negative. And then negative 12 plus a negative 2. My signs are the same. That means I'm going to add them and keep the sign. Number 3. Again, circle my operators. This is not an operator. This parentheses is just there to help divide up and let me see that that is a negative. This is an operator. This is an operator. This time I notice I have subtraction. So in class, we've kind of talked about, we already know that when you have subtraction, you're going to have to rewrite it as an addition problem. So before I even start working this problem, look at what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it as is. And I'm going to go ahead and change this subtraction to plus, which is adding the opposite. So the opposite of 4 would be negative 4 times 2. So now I've already gotten rid of that subtraction piece in there. So now I'm ready to work my problem. Write PEMDAS on your paper. Get in the habit of those strategies. Guys, I actually don't have any parentheses. The parentheses is when there's operations inside of it. My parentheses here is just being used to let me know that's negative. I do have multiplication and division. First come, first serve. So division came first. That's what I have to work first. Then I'm bringing down everything else. Negative 15 divided by 3. Okay, again, draw my triangle if I need to. I have a negative and a positive. I can also use my note sheet that we also have. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and because one's negative, one's positive, it's going to be a negative. Then I'm going to underline my next step. I still got some more multiplication and division in here. Bring down everything else. 4 times 2 is 8. There's a negative and a positive, so that's still going to be negative. And then my last step is addition. My signs are the same, so that means I'm going to add them and keep the sign. Now, guys, you should be referencing your note sheet on each one of these steps because it's so easy to make a mistake if we're not careful. Number 4, okay? Identify all my operators. Now, guys, this one's important here. Be very careful because you see these quite a few parentheses. This parentheses, notice there's operations to be done in there. This parentheses right here is just letting me know that this is a -2. There's no work there. That's just there to let me know that that is a -2. But I do notice, when I look at my operators, there is some subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this and go ahead and change that subtraction to adding the opposite. So I have to keep, when I recopy it, I must make sure I am very careful that I don't make a mistake. Change my subtraction to addition. So I'm adding the opposite. The opposite of -2 is +2 plus 8. Okay? I can drop the parentheses because remember, these parentheses were only there as a divider to let me know that's a negative. Now it's a positive. I don't really need it. Now, PEMDAS. Okay, I do have parentheses. And guys, remember, inside the parentheses, you must still follow order of operation. It's all addition, so it's not that challenging. But watch this. The guy brought down that information. 5 plus 2 is 7. I still have more in the parentheses, so that has to come next. 7 plus 8 is 15. And now I'm left with multiplication again. Okay, now I can get to the multiplication because there's nothing else there. I'm multiplying. 15 times 2 is 30. But again, you might want to draw your triangle. My signs are different, so I'm left with negative. All right, last number 5, guys. Again, I cannot express to you how many of these problems look very similar to the test. This question was very similar to your CFA as well, and you will see it again on your test. Connor played a football game. He ran the ball 4 times. His total yards is calculated by finding the sum. Now, guys, in class, a lot of us have forgot what the word sum means. That's a vocabulary word. Sum means to add. Okay, finding the sum of all his runs. How many total yards did he run at the end of the 4 runs? So if we look at run 1, 2, 3, and 4, here they are right here. We're going to find the sum. So that means I'm going to be combining these. 2 plus -3 plus 6 plus -11. That's what it would look like. I can put parentheses around that if I want to. If I just want to have it there to remind myself those are negative, but it's okay if I don't. From here, you should just be following PEMDAS again. This is all addition, so I can work left to right. Okay? So if I just take the first 2, 2 plus a -3, I'm combining a different opposite sign, so I'm going to actually subtract, leaving me -1. Next step, bring down the plus -11. Negative plus 6, again, I'm combining different signs, so I'm going to actually subtract. That's going to give me a 5 because I have to keep the sign of the larger number. 6 is larger than 1. And then 5 plus a -11, again, keep the sign. It's addition, they're different, so I'm going to subtract. And if I keep the sign of the negative of the larger number, it's going to be 6. Okay? Last problem. Troy played 3 levels of video games. His final score is determined by adding the scores from each level. The following expression represents his score. So here's his score. Now this, really be careful. This says -3 plus, now this is not 6 minus 4. Okay, this parentheses is only there to let us know that that is a negative. So remember, What is our lazy operation? Our lazy operation is multiplication. Okay, so if you have a number sitting right on the outside of a parentheses, the operation that's missing there is multiplication. So it's probably always good, again, to rewrite it. 3 plus 6 times negative 4. Okay, that's what that actually means there. Please, please, please do not think of that as subtraction. That is not what subtraction will look like. Now we're ready to work this problem following our PEMDAS. Okay, I'm going to rewrite it down here since I got it right on the line. I have to do the multiplication first. 6 times 4, again, 24, but my signs are different, so that means this is going to be a negative. And then lastly, I'm adding, and these signs are the same, so that means I get to add them and keep the sign, and my answer is 27. Remember, the purpose of this review and me going over the answers is for you to really test your ability to see how well prepared you are for these type of questions. Again, I would look over this. If you didn't get the same answers as I did, go back and find your mistake, just like we did in class, so you can make sure that you don't make those mistakes on tomorrow, okay? Again, you can send me chats if you have questions, but study and you should be fine. Also, take time to play either the Book It or the Quizzes, one of those games on the playlist, just to give you some additional practice.